It's January 4th, 2013, the first Free Day Friday of the year. If you want to get one of the cool intros that you saw at the beginning of the video made by Rob, a member of the council, you can click on the link below. There will be a zip file full of about 17 different intros that you can choose from. Anyone will do. And you don't have to have them if you don't want them, but it's just a cool thing to put in front of your video. My name is Tara. I will be 20 years old this year, and I'm currently studying at the University of Toronto, which is also where I live and grew up. My various social networks will be linked in the doobly-doo below, and they include my YouTube, my Twitter, and my OurPants account. Today I'd like to talk to you about a movie that I recently saw twice in one day because I thought it was so great. That movie is called God Bless America. If you haven't heard of this movie, I don't blame you because it came out in May of 2011 and it premiered at TIFF. And then it only ran in the theaters for a limited engagement, and it didn't come out on DVD until the next year in July. While it's very hard to summarize this movie without giving too much away, it's basically about this man who becomes very frustrated about seeing the meanest, shallowest people receive the most positive attention from the mass media. And he decides to do something about it. And as you can see from the cover, he's not holding therapy sessions. I'm not going to talk about that particular problem, though, as this is already a conversation that's going on in a lot of places around the world. Instead, I'm going to talk about two things that the movie simplifies in order to bring across its parody format. And those are the way the public consumes media and the way it limits the scope of the media. It seems to me that Frank believes that the media acts like a pump and pushes messages into the consumer's brain. The consumer is just a passive audience member who lets themselves be affected by the messages and has no way of interacting with it or coming up with their own meanings. The thing is, that's just not how our brains work. Our experiences, including other media that we've previously encountered, and of course who we know, how we grew up, and where we live, determine how we read media. Everything that we watch, read, experience, anything, has to go through a filter which is made up of our previous experiences. This filter is also the reason why we can watch movies like God Bless America, because while I can root for the main character in what he does, I'm not going to go out and do it myself, no matter how strongly I feel towards his point of action. And I think that a lot of people, if they have this filter, are not going to go do this as well. And if I were to see it in real life, I would not be rooting for this person. The other thing that this film seems to ignore is the wide scope of different forms of media. Frank is an old-fashioned kind of guy. He's obviously not a fan of new gadgets or tools or social media. The only type of media he really experiences are things like the radio and network television. And sadly, this is where lots of the bad things in media tend to lie. As we nerdfighters know, there are definitely communities which uphold the values that Frank does, including praising the kind and thinking deeply about things. Sadly, he doesn't know it exists. This movie has some great social commentary and is really, really funny at times. While it portrays the general public as a passive audience, it does this as a form of parody, to provide contrast for Frank. I feel bad for Frank. Kinda wish he knew about us. Maybe you wouldn't have lost faith in humanity so easily. January 5th, I'll see you tomorrow.